Okay. Good. Well, morning, afternoon. It's 12 noon. Welcome to session 3AS that Wolfgang will be presenting. He has some backup speakers who may monitor the chat. If you have any questions, please put your questions in the chat, and we'll either answer them at the end, or if the backups are keeping an eye on the chat window, then they might get answered in the chat. Okay. I shall now hand you over to Wolfgang and let him introduce the session. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you, Anna. So hello, welcome to this session. My name is Wolfgang Scherbele. I'm an IBM offering manager working in the IBM C service management area. I'm located in Germany, and in today's session, I would like to talk about how you can use two of our tools, which are IBM Service Management Unite and C Chat Ops, to help to resolve problems quicker and help with collaboration across teams in order to break down some of the silos that you may experience in your organization. So let's have a quick look at the agenda. So to begin with, I would like to talk about some of the challenges that we see in IT operations today. After that, I will introduce two of our offerings. So I will begin with Service Management Unite, or SMU in short, which is our web-based dashboard user interface for multiple C management domains. I will talk about what is new in the latest release, which has been just announced, and what deployment options you have to run it. Then the second part of the session will be about our brand new addition to our suite offerings, which is called C Chat Ops. This builds on SMU and provides collaborative problem resolution for a mainframe environment. With me in the session, I have Bin and Wu Song, who are lead developers in our development team. So don't hesitate to ask any questions in the chat. They will be monitoring it. And with that, let's get started. So let me first look at some of the challenges before we look at the details of the two offerings that I mentioned. So from a CIO's perspective, there's been a constant struggle between innovation and stability. So managing and processing more than 2,000 incidents per month, including sifting through daily logs for minor incidents and reducing major outages is of course very time consuming and expensive. And actually only 9 of those incidents are really critical, and they cost an average of $139,000. So a large percentage of the team is really tied up just keeping what they already have alive and running. So adding more automation, leveraging data analytics to more proactively identify issues, and adopting new DevOps practices as well as agile methods is therefore a top priority for CIOs and the IT operations teams to reduce downtimes. And with the digital transformation and the shift to hybrid cloud architectures, environments are becoming even more complex. This transformation also means a huge increase in data output from these systems. So it can take days to actually detect and diagnose a complex issue when every minute of an outage actually costs money and also an unknown impact to customer perception, right? So also we often see information, team, and data silos in organizations. And these silos inhibit SLA attainment, make collaboration more difficult, and also increase the time to problem resolution. The IT operations teams, on the other hand, suffer from being overwhelmed by having to use many different tools and by the lack of skills. They're struggling with inconsistent alerts, interrupted workflows to swap between tools, and challenges when having to share data across multiple teams. And then the few highly skilled talents often have to spend their time firefighting preventable incidents. Right, all this leads to frustration and maybe even burnout. So furthermore, with the looming retirements of mainframe administrators, along with an increasing growth of C workloads, businesses are trying to find ways to optimize for both cost and skills. With these challenges in mind, let's have a closer look on how Service Management Unite and C Chat Ops can help to improve the time to resolve problems, improve the way how people can collaborate, and also help with the skills issues. So first of all, I would like to introduce this and give a functional overview of Service Management Unite. Service Management Unite is our web-based user interface, dashboard user interface that consolidates data from many different sources, different management domains into one console. So the data can come from system automation, can come from performance management, so from Omega-Mon agents, network management, workload scheduling, analytics, and we provide purpose-built dashboards to help operations to quickly identify problems, to help to isolate problems, and finally also to restore service again. So the motto is really here, simpler for beginners and faster for experts. So we have various dashboards for the different areas, and of course, you can easily interact with the different management domains seamlessly from one point of control. So let's have a closer look at what we're integrating in SMU. So we have three main areas in SMU. One is SMU Performance Management. This is the set of dashboards that we have for integrating Omega-Mon into SMU. So here on the left side, you see the various Omega-Mon products, Omega-Mon agents for the different subsystems. And we have dashboards for each of those components that allow you to easily identify and isolate problems with a monitoring environment. Then we have the SMU Workload Scheduler piece, which integrates workload scheduler information into an SMU dashboard. We have a dashboard where the workload scheduler data is shown together with system automation data, and then you can also drill down to deep dive views in the dynamic workload console. And we have the area SMU Automation in SMU, which is the collection of dashboards integrating system automation and NetView functionality. And finally, we also have integration with Zoho. So if you have Zoho in place, we'll also make use of functionality that is provided by Zoho. So this slide gives a more a deeper look at the various functions in the three areas that I have mentioned. So on the SMU Performance Management side, you see we have a consolidated system health dashboard providing problem identification dashboards for the various subsystems that are being monitored by Omega-Mon. And we have problem isolation dashboards, which are guided ways for isolating specific problems in certain areas that we have created by talking with clients about typical problem situations. And we have problem isolation dashboards for MQ, COS, and for Java. On the SMU Workload Scheduler, as I mentioned before, we have an overview dashboard that consolidates information from CWS, from Workload Scheduler, plus information from the system automation environment. And from there, you can also execute certain operational tasks. And on the SMU automation side, we have basically two main areas. One, the dashboards for system automation, and the other dashboard functionality for NetView. So on the system automation side, we have an overview dashboard that provides a topology view of your environment. And you, of course, can drill down into certain automation domains. You can look at the automated resources in the SA policy. You have graphical views of the relationships. You can manage schedules. You can actually control automated applications and the application groups. We have dashboards to look at exceptional messages, at the WTORs that exist on the system. You can look at the captured messages by system automation, and we even have we provide with SMU and SA together, we provide end-to-end automation. So from SA on COS, you can actually automate workload that runs on a distributed platform as well and monitor all that in SMU. On the NetView side, we have quite a few recent additions. So the blocks in orange actually talk about what's new in SMU 117. That is actually not the latest release. We have just this week announced and released SMU 118. But for completeness, I also want to point out what has been added in the last release, so in the previous release before the latest one. And we have added several NetView capabilities there, like having a domain overview about the NetView domains. Then you can drill down into NetView domains and look at the NetView tasks and control the NetView environment. You can look at DVIPAR metrics. And for the administrator, we even have added some functionality to administrate NetView automation table statements. Then, since the very beginning, we have had included the possibility to look at the CANS log for a system, so the consolidated syslog and netlog provided by NetView, and we have the capability built in from various dashboards in SMU to launch to a view where you can issue arbitrary MVS or NetView commands on a system. And then, as I mentioned before, if you have Zoho also in place, you can even include and make use of the Zoho Chess Explorer and the Zoho MVS Explorer. So to summarize what IBM Service Management Unite is, so it offers a single point of control using modern and customizable dashboards to monitor and operate your applications. So especially that customizable part is a strength of SMU. There's a built-in drag and drop dashboard editor, which allows you to build your own dashboards with a rich widget palette, and you can even integrate your own data. So at a glance, you can see the health state of your environment and then drill down to the underlying problem, get suggestions to restore service again. And you can use automation functions provided by system automation, for example, to start, stop, recycle, or move business applications. You can access system logs and issue commands on the COS system. You have access to NetView dashboards to manage the NetView environment. And we exploit Zoho as well for chess job outputs and COS datasets. This is the welcome page after you log in to the web-based dashboard. This provides access to some of the high-level entry dashboards for the various management domains. At the top, you have a menu that provides access to even more dashboards. And for instance, here you have the monitor system health dashboard that would open a dashboard consolidating events from system automation as well as from Omega-Mon. So one place to start with to look for problems and then drill down and resolve the problem. We have areas here for managing the automation environment. We have areas for looking at the NetView domains, and we have the workload scheduler overview. So these are the four main areas that you start to drill down into. So now let's have a look at a few screenshots from the various areas. And since I also want to cover a lot about the Chat Ops part, I'm not going to do a live demo today for the SMU environment, but I have a few screenshots so that I can show you how this looks like, in case you haven't seen that before. So this at the top left here, we have the domain and automation health view, which is basically a graphical topology view of your automation environment. So you see your automation domains, which is basically the sysplexes and the systems. And at one glance, you see whether there are any automated applications there that show a problem or a warning. And then you can select an item and you get details about it on that page. And you see the actual applications on that system in what state they are, right? From there, you can drill down into a specific automation domain. You can look at the various resources that are defined in the SA policy. You see the relationships in a graphical way. You can do a right click on any of those resources to access automation functions, like for instance, you can issue a stop request as an operator to stop that resource through system automation. You can enter some parameters and then it will get stopped by system automation. Here's another example. You can even manage the automation schedules that are possible in system automation by using this calendar widget. So for a single automated application, you can define exactly when should this application be up, when should it be down, and you can manage those schedules easily through this calendar widget. Then another example here is looking at the NetView cans log. So for a specific system, you can open the cans log. You can even open the cans log for a certain application. When you see that the application is in a bad state, you can say that you want to look at the cans log at the time when this error has occurred, so that it takes you exactly to the right time in the log. So you get a presentation here of the log entries with the status information and the message, of course. From here and from various other places in SMU as well, you can even launch the issue command page. From here, you can enter on a COS system any MVS or NetView command. Just two examples here. A disp info is an SA command for a certain application, and you get the results back, and here just the display time command to display the current time. And one other example here in the NetView area, one of the more recent additions, focusing actually even on the administrator. This is the possibility to actually create an automation table statement, NetView automation table statement, using a web UI. So you can click together your conditions that should be compared against. For instance, the message ID should be a certain message ID. The sys ID should equal to some value. You can add more conditions. On the right side, you get an immediate preview of the actual automation statement as how it will be built. And then here on the lower part, you see the actions that will be driven when those conditions come true. So for instance, execute a certain command. You can validate the syntax. You can run a test, and one cool feature is even when you see in the NetView cans log a message that you want to automate, you can actually do a right click on that message and say you want to create a new automation for that message. It will open this dialog. You can pick the attributes from the message that you have selected and build a new automation based on the selected message from the NetView cans log. Now, a few examples from the SMU performance management side, so the Omegamon side. I mentioned before, we have the system health dashboard that provides a consolidated events view. So here you see, on the left side, you see the monitoring components, the subsystems that are being monitored by Omegamon, as well as the automation domain, so all the SA plexes. And then in the events section, you see all the events from those areas. You can filter those by selecting an item on the left side to, for instance, only look at the COS events. From such an event, you can do a right click. Here in this example, we have an address-based CPU utilization critical event. You can do a right click and then drill down to more details. In this case, drill down to the LPAR details for the system that sent out this event. And this will then take you to the LPAR details page, showing you all the most important metrics about that LPAR. For instance, you see here that the top 5 jobs that have the highest CPU utilization. In this example, we have actually one job named NQ that has a very high CPU percentage. I can do a right click again on here and then select isolate problem from the context menu. This actually then triggers one of our problem isolation dashboards. In this case, the CPU usage problem isolation page. So now we were looking at this one specific job named NQ, and you get certain information with regards to CPU usage of that job. For instance, you see here the last hour of CPU consumption of that one address space. As you can see, it was constantly high. Then we always have on those problem isolation pages a suggested actions box. You can enlarge that and get some recommendations how you can fix those issues. Here are some examples of more dashboards for the various OmegaMon monitored subsystems, like KIX regions, MQ, storage, volumes, JVMs, just a few examples. So for all of those monitoring domains and subsystems, we have dashboards that you can use to look at the performance metrics of those systems. I mentioned before that one of the strengths is that you can also build custom dashboards. You can build your own dashboards. Here are two examples from a customer, Apis IT, that has created two dashboards to monitor certain areas of their environment. So you can build those dashboards by yourself using a rich widget palette and connect it to your own data. Then the third area, the SMU Workload Scheduler dashboard. So here you can see how that looks like. It's one overview dashboard that provides a summary of all the workstations from C Workload Scheduler. So these are the systems on which the jobs will be executed. Then we have the job streams in the job plan. So you have job streams and jobs belonging to the job streams. You can expand in there to look at the details. You have job status information. So how many jobs have completed, how many are in an error state. You can actually click pie elements here to filter to look at only the jobs that are in that certain state. And here you see actually the resources that are managed by system automation and are basically the CWS infrastructure that is automated by system automation. So you can actually even control that environment directly from that dashboard. And then you can also drill down to dynamic workload console views in context from the context menus here of the jobs or workstations, as you can see here. So for instance, when looking at a job stream view, you can drill down into the job stream view provided by the dynamic workload console and then get even more operational tasks from there. Now, regarding the exploitation of Zoho. So if you have Zoho available, so Zoho provides APIs into COS and also a desktop browser application that you can log in. And we support with Zoho that you can run SMU even on the Zoho desktop along with other Zoho applications. So as you can see here is just another window on the Zoho desktop. And for certain use cases, we make use of integrating Zoho UIs as well as Zoho APIs. So for instance, when you're looking at a certain job in an SMU dashboard, you can open the job information. If Zoho is available, it will launch the Chess Explorer from Zoho embedded in SMU, and you can look at, for example, the JCL, the job output, and so forth. So with that, I have finished my functional overview of what SMU in general is about. Now I would like to add some information about what's new in the latest release. As I mentioned before, SMU 118 is the latest release, and we have just announced this last week, I think, yeah. So and it's actually even already available for download. So let's have a look at what's new in SMU 118. So it's available since November 3rd. And this is an overview of the items that we have added in that release. One, let me start at the top. So one is the ability to create launch and context links to data and resources that is shown on SMU dashboards. So for instance, if you look at a certain automated application on an SA dashboard in SMU, you can do a right click there and say copy as link. It will copy the link to this dashboard and including the specific selected resource information in that link, you can copy that into your clipboard, and then of course share that information with other people. If they use that link, it will log in, it will open SMU and directly navigate to that dashboard and navigate to the resource that is mentioned in that link. And one of the main use cases why we added this functionality is that you can now share this link also in a chat tool. And with our new Chat Ops offering, which provides a chatbot that recognizes this link, we can even provide a preview of that resource that is mentioned in the link in the chat tool. And I have more information on that later for that specific use case. So the next new item is the removal of the Adobe Flash dependency. So for those graphical views, before SMU 118, we were relying on Adobe Flash technology. Now the Adobe Flash player is going out of support by Adobe by end of this year. So this was one of the key requirements also from our clients, that we need to provide a graphical topology view which does not depend on the Adobe Flash technology. So with this release, we're now delivering that. The actual functionality is pretty much the same, and also the look and feel is pretty much the same as what we had before, but now it doesn't require the Adobe Flash player anymore. Next item is about GTPS and hardware information. So another key requirement here from our clients is that they would like to integrate also GTPS information and hardware information in SMU. So we made a first step into that area, and now provide some information about which systems are GTPS managed, what is the GTPS K system, and also some hardware information in the properties. Then another new item is the possibility to actually launch in context to IBM C Service Management Explorer. In case you haven't, if you haven't heard about the C Service Management Explorer yet, so that's another Zoho application that is basically the successor of the TEP, so the Tivoli Enterprise Portal, which is Java based and all that. So it provides monitoring information from OmegaMon in a look and feel that is very much similar to how it was presented or is presented in the Tivoli Enterprise Portal, but now using a modern web UI technology running on the Zoho desktop. So and what we did is we're adding now the possibility to launch from SMU OmegaMon monitoring dashboards, for instance, from a problem isolation page directly to deep dive information in IBM C Service Management Explorer. Then we also recertified for with Zoho. So there's a Zoho conformance program that we are certified with. So Zoho SMU is certified for that program. And IBM Zoho is also distributed as a supporting program with SMU. And last but not least, we have added some new C trial scenarios. So C trial is a program where we can actually get trial machines, trial environments for COS software or for C software. And we already have an SMU C trial, and we're now extending that to additional scenarios. And I have some more details on that. So first of all, yeah, let's have a look at some of the a little bit more details about what I just mentioned. So one area that I mentioned was the launching of the IC Service Management Explorer from SMU. So here you see a screenshot of the Service Management Explorer. If you're familiar with the TEP, the Tivoli Enterprise Portal, this looks very familiar. So you see your monitoring environment here and certain workspaces with detailed monitoring information. And from our SMU overview dashboards and details pages, you can now launch into ICSME. So both run on the Zoho desktop. You can have both applications next to each other and launch from one to the other. So typically you start with SMU to do some problem analysis, problem isolation, and then for deep dive information you can launch into SME. Now to GTPS and hardware information in SMU. So yeah, I mentioned that we are now showing that which systems are managed by GTPS. So we have an icon here that shows which is the GTPS K system and which are GTPS managed systems and which are non-GTPS managed systems. So we get that information by looking at the towers from NetView. And we also have some first information about the hardware itself. So for instance, in the properties of a system, we add the CPC name, the LPAR name, the machine type and model, and yeah, the sysplex name we had before. And now some more details on this, on the new C trial environment available. So we have 3 new scenarios. You can go to the C trial webpage. Here's the link and look for the SMU C trial environments. And here we have this new environment with 3 new scenarios. One scenario is about some basic navigation on SMU, so you can get your own request your own SMU environment and play around with it. We have a guide for this for the individual scenarios that you can go through, and it will walk you through some examples. The second scenario is about working with system automation resources, and the third one is about working with C NetView resources. Even before those new C trial scenarios, we had C trial scenarios around JVM monitoring with OmegaMon for JVM. So I would encourage you to also explore those. Okay, now let's have a look at the SMU deployment options and how you can get it. So first of all, SMU runs on Linux on C or Linux on X, or actually natively on COS if you have COS 2.4 and the COS container extensions. And this is because we provide SMU in 2 flavors. One is a traditional install. In that case, you install the prerequisites like WebSphere and the SMU installer on a specific system. The other option is actually you take the pre-installed SMU Docker image. So we have a pre-installed Docker image in several releases, and you can just download those Docker images and deploy them to a Docker environment. And that includes deploying it on COS natively, since with COS 2.4 and the container extensions, Docker containers are supported to run on COS as well. So in the SMU server basically sits on top of the existing infrastructure that you already have, where you have your OmegaMon, your system automation, your NetView environment, your workload scheduler environment running, and it connects through APIs with that environment. There's one slide about running SMU in the COS container extensions. So the COS container extension is a new feature added in the latest COS 2.4 release, and it enables the deployment of Docker C Linux Docker containers in a COS address space. And that, of course, has several benefits. You don't need a separate Linux server to run SMU. SMU will be like a regular COS address space. You can see it here, for instance, listed, and you can manage SMU with tools that are familiar to you. Like, for example, you can use system automation to actually automate this SMU container running under COS. So here you can find more information on SMU. So we have a customer access portal, tech notes that give you more information on the latest support and how you can download it. And we have basically 2 ways how you can get SMU. One is through the suites, so the C Service Management Suite, the C Monitoring Suite, and the C Service Automation Suite. So these are all product bundles that we offer. all include also the SMU Enterprise Edition. So this is our full-featured SMU with all the functionality that I introduced. And there's also a flavor of SMU that comes with system automation and also with NetView with the point products. And this is called SMU Automation, and it includes all the dashboards that are needed to manage system automation NetView, but this version does not include the OmegaMon dashboards or the CWS dashboard. There's also a C systems management community, which we use a lot for blogging about SMU and also about Chat Ops and other features. There's the Knowledge Center. We have a video library with interesting videos around SMU. We have some Redbook publications. Here you can see the download sites. As I mentioned, we have two flavors, SMU Enterprise Edition and SMU Automation. Here are the corresponding download links from where you can get the software. You need an access key to access those download sites. You will find the access key with the product material of either the suites or the system automation or NetView products on a CD that is labeled either accessing IBM Service Management Unite or accessing IBM Service Management Unite Automation. And here you have links to the product pages. So with that, I'd like to continue with the next topic that builds on SMU, and this is Chat Ops. So let me first talk about what Chat Ops is. So Chat Ops is actually a collaboration model that connects people, tools, processes, and automation into a transparent workflow. If you look at the people in the IT operations department, you have different job roles. For instance, you have sysprocs, you have administrators, you have operators, and you have different skills, of course. Each person, each group of persons uses a different set of tools. They may be even working in different locations or even different time zones. And traditionally, when they work together on some problem incident, they use email or they use a phone to communicate the information, right? Sometimes you set up some web conference for setting up a virtual war room to discuss certain problems. Sometimes you come together in offices. So, and with Chat Ops, you're trying to leverage tools that you use anyhow for other purposes, also for IT operations. And so with Chat Ops, this picture changes like this. At the center, you have a chat tool. And this can be something like Slack, Mattermost, or many people also use Microsoft Teams. So these are collaboration platforms that you can use to communicate with people, to share data, to you have a history of communication, you can do searching and all that. And if you now even add chatbots to such a collaboration platform, to such a chat platform, you can even integrate your tools into the communication. And that is the core idea of Chat Ops. By consolidating the communication on a common platform, common collaboration platform, and by adding chatbots, you get access to even data from your tools from within the chat platform. You don't have to navigate to different tools. At least to some extent, you can get all the information at one place together. So that helps to improve service reliability, service recovery time, and of course, collaboration efficiency. Now let's look at a few of those chat tools that we all know about. So in this example, we're looking at Slack. So conversations take place in channels that are shown here, or direct messages. So channels are basically group chats where you invite multiple people, for instance, your IT operations team, or depending on how you set this up, you could even have channels for specific incidents. And direct messages is really a point-to-point communication with a peer. In those chat tools, you cannot only simply chat, but they are really rich, and you can upload files, you can create snippets, you can even use commands, you can integrate chatbots, you can use pictures and so forth. And all of those chat tools have built-in search functionality. So since you're using such a chat platform, you have a history of all the communication. You can search there. You have even audit kind of functionality. Now let's look at one example how such a chat tool can be used for incident management. And this is an example from the distributed world using Netcool Omnibus in this in this sample. So there's a chatbot from the Omnibus team as well, and this allows alerting teams in the chat tool about incidents that are sent to the event manager. So an incoming event gets a dedicated or can get a dedicated channel. Then you automatically can invite the right people into this channel that need to know about this problem, that need to work together to solve the problem. In the event, you get the details that you need to understand what is going on. And in the event, you get drill down links to look at more details about the situation. So, and from here, the whole team is basically automatically invited, is on the same page about the event, and then they can get started analyzing the problem. And this really can help to improve the incident management workflow. So if we look at the various phases of how an incident is managed, you have the detect phase, you isolate an incident, you diagnose it, you fix it, and then you verify it. And by applying Chat Ops principles, you can actually reduce the time that is needed to go through this workflow. For instance, a chatbot can notify you about the problem. So you reduce the mean time to detect. You can also reduce the mean time to identify by providing the detailed information in the collaboration channel about the incident. It can help you to collaborate by inviting the right people into the channel, so everyone knows about it immediately. And you could even automate the resolution, or at least help and assist to resolve the problem by using the chatbot directly from the chat. So, and with such a principle, I mean, in general, it helps that you just work better together, and which provides a better collaboration culture. So now, how does this relate to IBM C? So we have added a brand new offering called IBM C Chat Ops to our suite offerings. And that is actually a free of charge component of those suites. And it is named IBM C Chat Ops. So in the last week, together with the latest SMU release, we announced that and made that available for download, the first version of IBM C Chat Ops. So let's have a look at what this first version contains. So and what it is about. So with IBM C Chat Ops, we provide a chatbot that allows you to analyze and operate your mainframe environment from an existing chat tool. And as a supported chat tool, in this first release, we are supporting as chat tool Slack and Mattermost. So in case you don't know Mattermost is an open source chat collaboration platform, quite similar to Slack. We also want to support Microsoft Teams in the future. So, and by providing this chatbot, we want to support collaborative problem isolation also for a mainframe environment in using a tool that you use anyhow, in your business for communicating with your team. So we have three main areas. So integration with event management is about alerting people in the chat platform about situations on the C systems. So C events can be forwarded to C Chat Ops. You can display the event in the chat tool. We provide drill down links to further information. This can be events from system automation, from Omegamon, from NetView, or from IC Operations Analytics. We also we will also improve the sharing of data by allowing to drop links to C resources into the chat. And then the chatbot will provide point-in-time previews of those resources in the team channel. And then you will be able to also launch the dashboard in context from that. And the main area is really about analyzing and operating the environment. So Through the chatbot, you can query, see system health, get monitoring details, issue simple commands by simply communicating with the chatbot. The information is provided by System Automation, Omega-Mon and NetView. And you can, this all builds on top of SMU. So we're using the SMU APIs, and you can also drill down then to SMU dashboards for more details. You can also look up, see message descriptions in the IBM Knowledge Center directly from the chat, and we support interaction through commands or simple sentences, and I have some more details on that later. And you can also even click on buttons or links on any of the chat output. Let's have a quick look at the high-level architecture. So at the top, you have the chat tools in which the team is working, for instance, Slack or Microsoft Teams or MetaMost. And then you deploy C Chat Ops into that environment. And with that, we are allowed to actually analyze and operate your C environment by connecting to Service Management Unite. Service Management Unite provides the data for all the products listed here, integrating into the SMU dashboards, and by that also being available for Chat Ops. So you have NetView, you have System Automation, you have all the Omega-Mons, all those pieces that integrate in SMU, and with that we get APIs to get to that data, so we can display that that information in the chat through the chatbot. And there's also a REST API available in ChatOps that is used to receive events from the outside. So if any of those products needs to send an event and alert the team, they can use that REST API to send events to the chat. And we're also thinking about integrating with what's an AI ops. So getting more AI capabilities into that to try to even detect incidents earlier and avoid them even. And yeah, on the chat ops level, there will be an integration at the chat platform level. Okay, and so where is ChatOps included? As I mentioned before, it will be added, or it has been added to the suites that are listed here: the C Service Management Suite, the C Monitoring Suite, and the C Service Automation Suite. They all include SMU Enterprise Edition, and now have been, the C ChatOps component has been added to those 3 suites. In addition, we have even added the C ChatOps component to system automation customers that only have system automation and not the suites. So along with SMU automation, you also are entitled to C ChatOps for the system automation use cases. So by adding that capability, we enable ChatOps capabilities for the C managed portfolio. So that, of course, improves the collaboration. It can help to speed up the incident identification and resolution, and also supports easy integration and sharing of data in a chat platform. So a few screen captures here. So first of all is the alerting functionality, right? So we talked about that it's possible to send events to the chat tool through the C ChatOps component. And here's an example from ICOA, the operations analytics piece, which provides anomaly detection. In this example, ICOA detected an anomaly with DB2 accesses and detects that that there will be probably the maximum number of database access threats exceeded at a certain point in time in the future. So we're alerting the team about this event in the chat. They can drill down to links with more information directly from here, and can start to actually even analyze the system and get more details directly from the chat based on that situation. And this is basically the second area, really the interacting with the system through queries and commands through the chatbot. Here's an example. So you can actually communicate with the chatbot by talking with this @ sign to it. So for instance, @BNC for bot on C, show me all systems. And then the bot will go to SMU, look up the systems, and return that directly in the chat with a the status information, and you get buttons to drill down into more details. For instance, you can click a button, show resources, to look at the details, to look at the resources running on that specific system, and you get the status information for the resources running on that system directly in the chat. So everyone in the team sees the same information. It's not that one goes off to a 3070 screen or to an SMU dashboard and looks at that and then has to communicate back what the status is. Everyone in the team sees the same information. Of course, from that output, you may want to get more details or want to drive certain actions. So all of those names are rendered as links. And if you click on those links, it will actually take you to the corresponding resource in SMU. And from there, you can, for instance, issue a command or an action, or look at more details directly in SMU. So if you need more details, but to some level, you get all the information already in the chat. And then the sharing of a link. So I mentioned that a couple of times. So in SMU, you can actually do a copy as link on a resource or on a subsystem monitored by Omegamon. You can copy the link into the clipboard, drop it into the chat. The chatbot will detect that this is a known link from SMU, and it will get the details for the resource that is mentioned in the link and render a preview of that information directly in the link, in the chat, so that everyone sees that information as well. And from here, you can then, of course, continue working with that resource or drill down to it in the SMU dashboard again. So Chat Ops supports various ways of interacting with a chatbot. So that the typical use case is, of course, to just talk with a chatbot by using the @BNC signal. And we have two ways of actually communicating with a chatbot. One is using simple form sentences. That is looks a little bit like natural language support, but it's not really a real natural language support using some Watson technology in the background or something like that. It actually provides a simple, or relies on a simple sentence structure with certain keywords that need to be in a certain order, and it discards other words. But still, this can be used for the occasional user that doesn't want to get familiar maybe with a more complex command line style syntax. For instance, you can say @BNC display all events, or BNC list the volumes in storage group primary, something like that. Then the other way, more of the power user, is the command line style syntax. So for all the functionality, for all the queries that we offer in the chatbot, you have a command line style syntax that allows you give the keyword and a verb and what you want to list there, and you can filter that and provide more complex options with that. Then, of course, whenever there's a chat output based on a query that you made, you can use your mouse to get more details. You have seen that in the screen captures as well. For instance, you can click a button to look at the members of a group, or you can click a link to take you to a certain SMU dashboard in context. And drag and drop is what you have seen before, dropping the link to a certain resource into the chat. This will be recognized as well. And then finally, another way of interacting with a chatbot is through the inbound webhook, basically a REST API that is available that you can use to send events to Chat Ops that will be then rendered in the chat channel. Some more details on how that simple form sentence structure looks like. I will skip that for now in the interest of time. This is an example of the command line syntax for one command. Of course, we have an online help system, that will provide all the syntax information. For example, with a bot name, you have the command to work with systems. You can list the systems. You can list the status of systems. You can list the resources on a system and so forth. You have filtering options. So this is all explained here in the online help. And now here I have a few examples. We support in the first release as I mentioned, two different chat tools. One is Slack, the other one is Mattermost. And they render the output a little bit differently based on their capabilities. So depending on whether you have Mattermost here on the left side or Slack, the output will look a little bit different. So for comparison, I have put in both tools here. In this example, we're actually listing the automation domains in the chat tool. So you can say at BNC show SA domains, and that will list all the automation domains with their status information here in the chat. The same thing can be done using the command line style syntax, using the AD for automation domain list command. And this one is in Slack now. This output displays the same information, the same domains, but now in this little bit different output format. Based on one of the listed domains here, you can look at the systems on the domain, for example, or look at the resources on the domain. Here's the list of systems. Instead of clicking the button, you can, of course, also directly type the command system list. Here you see all the systems here in Mattermost, here in Slack. Again, you see exactly what is the worst resource state of the resources running on that system. And then you can drill down into more details. Here we're looking at actually the system automation resources on a certain domain, and we filter it by name. In this example, we're filtering to only show the resources that start with a CICS name. So here you see the output with all the CICS resources in Mattermost, and here on Slack. Again, you see the status information from system automation. You have links here that you can click on that will take you to the corresponding SMU dashboard, so that you can see, for instance, the relationships or drive some actions against those resources in SMU. Here's the resource details for one specific resource displayed in the chat. Now let's look at a little bit more on the Omegamon side. So with the command event list, you're listing all the Omegamon events. In this case, yeah, you see in Mattermost, you see several events listed from reported by MQ. You also see every CPU utilization warning and a dead letter queue, again from MQ, and the same information listed here in Slack. And again, you can click on the link to get more details. Here's another example for listing storage groups. So directly in the chat, you can look for the storage group by typing storage group list, and you'll get the list of all storage groups monitored by Omegamon for storage. You get, for instance, the volume free space listed and so forth. Then you can look at the LPARs information from Omegamon. For instance, here we have one LPAR. You see the status information. You see the average CPU percentage. You then can click on show jobs of LPAR, or first show LPAR details to get the details of that specific LPAR with even more parameters for that specific system. You can look at the jobs of the LPAR. So this reports the 5 jobs with the highest CPU percentage on that system. So, and this all directly from the chat. So you can, with the whole team, you can collaborate on finding the root cause of a problem, getting more information and so forth. And whenever you need it, there's the launch into SMU with more details is just one click away. And one more example, looking at the CANS log information, or if you want to look up some message, the chatbot will look up the information from the IBM Knowledge Center. You can click on it and you will be taken to the Knowledge Center information for that particular message. The chatbot, of course, has built-in help. So with all the commands that are possible, you can just type @BNC help to get the help information, then drill down here to get more details about the specific command. And here, one slide with many more links about more information around Chat Ops. It's the same concept as for SMU. We have a download page and a corresponding customer access portal. that provides information on how you can download it and where you can download it. So yeah, the download site is here. You can download the code, deploy it, and enable with that Chat Ops for your C management portfolio. So it is already available for electronic download from the download site. We're also adding it to Shop C when you order the newest releases of the service of the various suites and offerings that we also provide through Shop C, of course. So and here you see some dates when those will be available. So right now, if you order the service automation suite, you will not get the C Chat Ops component yet through Shop C, but you can already download it from the download site. So, and finally, this is a call to action. So just a few items that you can have a look at. First of all, the seed trial around SMU. Then we also provide an AI Ops webinar and a corresponding AI Ops assessment that you might be interested in. And of course, to keep up with latest news around IBM C software, there's a newsletter as well that you can also subscribe to. And with that, I'm finished, a little bit over time. Sorry about that. But please submit your session feedback here as well. And before closing this completely, I would like to ask if there's any questions.
No questions have appeared in the chat, but I will now set everyone to be able to unmute themselves if they wish to have a conversation with you or with each other.
Yep.
And also, and I'll leave it open for a few minutes for people to do that. Please do make sure you do feedback. We really do look at the feedback and we use it for part of our planning for next year's GSE, where I hope we might be face to face. Please also remember our charity. Just like buying a strip of raffle tickets, you know, you never did expect to win, but you still did it because it was charity. So again, please, if you can make a small donation to the charities. We're used to being able to give them quite a large check, so I hope you'll all be generous. And thank you, Wolfgang, for that. Very interesting, if just 1 minute over long. and thank you very much for your time. So I'm going to shut up now, and you can talk to Wolfgang or each other as you wish. Thanks.